নিউজ ভ্যানগার্ডে আপনাদের সবাইকে সাদর আমন্ত্রণ। আজকে আমরা বসছি, আমাদের ত্রিপুরা আগামী ফেব্রুয়ারি 16 তারিখে ইলেকশনে যাচ্ছে। তো ইলেকশন নিয়ে কিছু আমরা কথা বলবো। আমাদের সঙ্গে আজকে উপস্থিত আছেন ডক্টর সজ্জন কুমার। উনি জেএনইউ থেকে পলিটিক্যাল সায়েন্সে ডক্টরেট করেছেন, স্যাফোলজি নিয়ে কাজ করেন। সমস্ত ভারতবর্ষ জুড়ে যেখানেই নির্বাচন হয় তিনি সেখানে গিয়ে বিশ্লেষণ করেন রাজনৈতিক পরিস্থিতি, ভোটের কিভাবে চলছে, ভোটের ট্রেন্ড কি, এগুলো নিয়ে বিশ্লেষণ করেন। মূলত একাডেমিক স্টাডিজগুলো করেন উনি। 2018-তে তিনি ত্রিপুরায় এসেছিলেন। 2018-তে তিনি যে প্রেডিকশনটা করেছিলেন একদম হুবহু ফলে গেছে। 2018-তে নিউজ পেপারেও বেরিয়েছে। উনি প্রেডিকশন করেছিলেন বিজেপি 36 সিটস পাবে, আইপিএফটি 8 থেকে 9টা পাবে। একদম এক্স্যাক্ট এই ফিগারেই এসছে বিজেপি এবং আইপিএফটি। তো এবারও উনি এসছেন এবং উনি সমস্ত রাজ্যের সবটি কনস্টিটিউয়েন্সিতে 60 কনস্টিটিউয়েন্সিতে উনি গেছেন, ওখানে থেকেছেন। বেশ কিছুদিন ধরে তিনি আগরতলা আছেন। তো ওখানে ঘুরেছেন, মানুষের সঙ্গে কথা বলেছেন, বিভিন্ন ধরনের ওদের যে মডেল আছে, যেভাবে অ্যানালাইসিস করেন ওরা, অ্যাসেস করেন, সেই অনুযায়ী করেছেন ওরা। আমরা তার কাছ থেকে শুনে নেব কি তাদের অ্যাসেসমেন্ট। তার চেয়ে আরেকটি জিনিস হলো, এবার ডক্টর সজ্জন কুমারের সঙ্গে আরও একজন এসছেন দিল্লি থেকে। উনিও জেএনইউর পিএইচডি স্কলার, মনীষা। তো মনীষাও আমাদের মধ্যে আছেন আজকে। উনিও সজ্জন কুমারের সঙ্গে ঘোরাফেরা করেছেন, সমস্ত কনস্টিটিউয়েন্সি দেখেছেন, কথাবার্তা বলেছেন, তারা একটা স্টাডি করেছেন। আমরা শুধু বুঝে নেব আজকে যে কি ধরনের ট্রেন্ড ওরা দেখতে পেয়েছেন এবং তাদের কি মনে হচ্ছে এই ইলেকশনের ফলাফল কি ধরনের হতে পারে। হয়তো একজ্যাক্ট ফিগারে আমরা যাব না, কিন্তু ট্রেন্ডটা বোঝার চেষ্টা করব। Welcome, Dr. Sajjan Kumar. I think this is for the second time you are here. Last time also we have met. And also welcome, Monisha. This is for the first time, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, whenever elections are there in Tripura, we find many friends from Delhi and other places that do visit Tripura. And last time also you have predicted, Dr. Sajjan, you have predicted rightly that BJP would be getting 36 seats and IPFT 8 to 9.
Yeah.
And that is the figures they have got. Now this time also you are here, and I believe that you have visited all the constituencies, all the 60 constituencies,
All the 60 constituencies.
and all the ST constituencies,
Yes.
SC constituencies,
Yes.
and general constituencies, and
Yes.
you have spoken to the general people and electors and all,
Yes.
new generation electors, first generation electors, and the older ones also.
Yes.
And Monisha, you are also with them, I
Yes,
believe. Huh?
yes.
So, I'd like to ask the first question. In 2018 you were here, and also this time you are here. What is your primary assessment, or for that matter, what is the difference, you please tell me, that you have found out? The difference between 2018 का जो इलेक्शन का माहौल था और 2023 में जो माहौल है, what is the difference you have found out between these two?
मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ ताकि एक
या इंग्लिश में भी बोल सकते हैं, हिंदी में भी।
देखिए, जो 2018 में जो 2018 में जो इलेक्शन का माहौल था, उस टाइम में बीजेपी एक चैलेंजर थी, चलो पलटाई का एक स्लोगन था। और सीपीएम जो कि यहाँ पे एक कैडर बेस्ड पार्टी है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिनका बहुत स्ट्रांग है, और जो 25 साल से 25 ईयर से रूलिंग पार्टी थी, उस टाइम में बहुत ही इंटरेस्ट था लोगों में कि क्या होगा, क्या बीजेपी सीपीएम को डिफीट कर पाएगी, क्या सीपीएम बीजेपी के चैलेंज को काउंटर कर पाएगा। और हमने जब अगरतला में बात किया था एक्सपर्ट से, तो जनरल ओपिनियन यह था कि इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू डिफीट द सीपीएम 18 में, और बीजेपी प्राइम अपोजिशन आ जाएगी। बट जैसे ही हम अगरतला से बाहर गए, जब हमने वहां पे लोगों से बात किया, तो हमने देखा कि लोगों के बीच में एक अंडर करेंट चेंज का था। तो चलो पलटाई जो बीजेपी का स्लोगन था, वो स्लोगन काफी इफेक्टिव था। तो जो परसेप्शन और रियलिटी का गैप था, वो हमें 2018 में दिखा था, और फिर हमने प्रिडिक्ट भी किया था। मैं पहले सिमिलैरिटी की बात करता हूं, फिर हम चेंज में आएंगे कि क्या डिफरेंस है। तो एक सिमिलैरिटी हम इस बार भी देख रहे हैं कि जब हम अगरतला में आए और हमने बाकी लोगों से इंटरेक्ट किया कैपिटल में, तो हमें एक परसेप्शन मिला जो ये दिखा रहा है कि इलेक्शन इस बार काफी क्लोजली कंटेस्टेड है, ट्रायंगुलर है, 3 पार्टी के बीच का एक कंटेस्टेशन है और हर सीट पे ये प्रिडिक्ट करना मुश्किल है कि कौन जीत सकता है। इट्स लाइक अ चेस गेम। लेकिन जैसे ही हमने अपना फील्ड वर्क शुरू किया, वो जो हम एक मेथड फॉलो करते हैं, उसे आप फोकस ग्रुप इंटरव्यू कहें या उसे आप परपोजिव सैंपलिंग करें, कि जैसे एक विधानसभा में, असेंबली में
व्हाट इज द मॉडल यू फॉलो फॉर दैट?
हम लोग प्राइमरली क्वालिटेटिव मेथड फॉलो करते हैं। एक क्वांटिटेटिव होता है जिसमें आप क्वेश्चनर के साथ जाते हैं, उसमें आपके क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, ऑप्शंस क्लोज्ड होते हैं और आप जो रेस्पोंडेंट होता है उससे पूछते हैं। हम जो फॉलो करते हैं, जो हमने फर्स्ट राउंड कंप्लीट किया है 60 के 60 में, ये क्वालिटेटिव है। क्वालिटेटिव में आप थोड़ा डीपर जाते हैं, काफी बातचीत करते हैं और उसमें आप प्राइमरली जो हर विधानसभा का जो डेमोग्राफिक प्रोफाइल है, कितने ट्राइबल हैं, ट्राइबल में कितने डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ ट्राइबल हैं, बंगालीज हैं तो उसमें एससी सेक्शन क्या है, जनरल पॉपुलेशन क्या है, अर्बन एंड रूरल क्या है, उनका ऑक्यूपेशन डाइवर्सिटी क्या है, एज वाइज क्या है। तो रिसर्च के पर्पस के हिसाब से हमारा सैंपल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होता है। फिर हम उनसे रिसर्च के पर्पस के हिसाब से, इसीलिए इसे पर्पोजिव सैंपलिंग कहते हैं, पर्पस ऑफ द रिसर्च। फोकस ग्रुप इंटरव्यू इसलिए कहते हैं इसी को क्योंकि आप अपने रिसर्च के पर्पस के हिसाब से डिफरेंट ग्रुप से फोकस्ड थीम्स पे बातचीत करते हैं। हमने वही फॉलो किया है। जिस विधानसभा में जो भी डेमोग्राफी थी, हमने उसी हिसाब से वहां के अपने रेस्पोंडेंट्स को बांटा और फिर उनसे जाके सेम थीम्स पे हमने बातचीत किया और जो भी फाइंडिंग आया हमने उसको प्रेफर किया। इसमें हम डेलिबरेटली पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स या एक्टिव पार्टी मेंबर से बात नहीं करते हैं। हमारा
कॉमन पीपल,
हमारा बायस हमेशा कॉमन पीपल होते हैं, सो दैट हम ग्राउंड परसेप्शन क्या है, वोटिंग बिहेवियर में क्या चेंज है, क्या कंटिन्यूटी है, उसको कैप्चर करते हैं। तो ये जो हमने 60 का 60 सीट जो हमने और मनीषा ने किया है, ये हम लोग हर जगह जाके वहां के ट्राइबल, बंगाली, कास्ट, डिफरेंट सब एथनिक जो वहां की बनावट है, जो कम्युनिटीज हैं, उसके हिसाब से हमने क्वेश्चन पूछा है, उनसे बातचीत की है। तो इस तरीके से हमारा ये हमेशा एक हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि जो हमारी स्टडी हो वो बायस्ड ना हो।
It's okay. It's almost academic study. It won't be biased, I believe. But my question was, what is the your primary assessment or the difference that you have found out from the last years this time?
सबसे पहला जो हमें एक मिला है कि वो त्रिपुरा के पॉलिटिकल कल्चर में ग्राउंड पे काफी बदलाव महसूस किया जा रहा है। पीपल आर परसीविंग दैट द पॉलिटिकल कल्चर ऑफ त्रिपुरा हैज चेंज्ड इन अ सिग्निफिकेंट वे। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट जो चेंज जो लोगों ने बताया और जिसको हम लोग बाद में एकेडमिकली देखते हैं कि त्रिपुरा पहले जो थी एक पार्टी सोसाइटी थी। बंगाल की तरह त्रिपुरा में सीपीएम रूल के टाइम में पार्टीज पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविटीज पे तो नजर रखते थे, लेकिन उन्होंने सोसाइटी के पर्सनल और सिविल सोसाइटी का जो एक स्पेस होता है, मार्केट है वो सिविल सोसाइटी का होना चाहिए, कहीं पे हाट लगे वो सिविल सोसाइटी का होना चाहिए, मैरिजेस शादी कैसे हो, मैरिटल डिस्प्यूट हो, फैमिली का डिस्प्यूट हो, झगड़ा हो, वो भी सिविल सोसाइटी का मैटर है। लेकिन जब आप देखेंगे कि पार्टी ये तय करती है किस मार्केट में किसको स्टॉल मिलेगा, अगर शादी हो तो उस फैमिली का पॉलिटिकल एफिलिएशन क्या है, जो बंगाल में भी था, त्रिपुरा में भी वो एक चीज बताया गया कि ये था, हमने 2018 में भी देखा था। पार्टी जो है आपके पॉलिटिकल लाइफ को तो कंट्रोल करती है, वो आपके पर्सनल लाइफ को भी कंट्रोल करती थी, चाहे वो इकोनॉमी का हो।
आप अभी ये बोल रहे हो कि इसमें चेंज आ गया।
लोगों ने कहा कि इस बार अगर आप देखें 2023 में एक बहुत बड़ा कारण और एक बहुत बड़ा बदलाव जो ग्राउंड पे दिख रहा है वो ये दिख रहा है कि लोग ये फील कर रहे हैं कि अब पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का जो कंट्रोल था लोगों के पर्सनल लाइफ पे और पर्सनल स्फीयर पे, वो काफी चेंज हुआ है और त्रिपुरा इज नो मोर अ पार्टी सोसाइटी विच यूज टू बी। तो एक ये जो चेंज है वो सीपीएम के डिफीट और बीजेपी के आने के बाद जो लोगों ने महसूस किया है कि अब वो पार्टी के अंदर, पार्टी के कंट्रोल में उनकी पर्सनल लाइफ नहीं है। और मनीषा बंगाली में ज्यादा कंफर्टेबली बात कर रही थी, तो उन्होंने ये बताया कि जो पहले मिचिल
মানে বেঙ্গলিতে বলি, আচ্ছা, তে আগে যে মিছিল হতো, প্রটেস্ট হতো, যখন কোনো মানে কোনো রকমেরও মানে ফ্রিকুয়েন্টলি একটা মিছিল হতো যে পার্টি ডাকতো এই জিনিস ওদের, তো অনেকবার কি হতো কি লোকরা যদি নাও আসতে চেত তাও ওদের মানে ভয় দিয়ে মানে ঘর থেকে নিয়ে যাওয়া হতো মিছিলে, আর যদি ওরা না যেতে চেত তাহলে ওদের ভাতা বন্ধ করে দেওয়া হতো, নাহলে অনেক রকমের একটা ভয় দেওয়া হতো। এই জিনিসটা এখন খুব কম হচ্ছে। আর আরেকটা যেটা হয়েছে ওইটা হচ্ছে, একটা আমরা বাড়িতে গেছিলাম, ওখানে ওই মেয়েটা বলল কি মুখ দেখে দিত, মানে হচ্ছে কি যারা সিপিএম যখন ছিল 25 বছর, তখন ওরা এই জিনিসটা দেখতো কি আমরা নিজের পার্টি যে সাপোর্টার আর মেম্বার্স ওদের বেশি সাপোর্ট করি, পলিটিক্যাল আর ম্যাটেরিয়াল যে বেনিফিট ওইটা ওদের বেশি দেই। তো এই জিনিসটা একটু বেশি হচ্ছিল, তো এই জিনিসটা এখন চেঞ্জ হয়েছে, একটা ডিফারেন্ট একটা এনভায়রনমেন্ট এখন হয়েছে, যেতে যে পাবলিক আছে ওইটা এখন বেশি ওইটাকে সাপোর্ট পাচ্ছে।
And as far as the issues are concerned, you know, the left front and its ally now, this Congress, they have come out with a statement जे इसमें ये जो अपोजिशन अलायंस और सीट शेयरिंग हुए हैं, ये जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बचाने के लिए हुआ है, एंड डेमोक्रेसी को जो बीजेपी का टाइम पे डेमोक्रेसी पर जो आघात, दिस इट वाज बीइंग थ्रॉटल काइंड ऑफ थिंग, दिस एलिगेशंस वर रेज्ड, उसको बचाने के लिए ये अलायंस जरूरी था, वो हुआ है। Now, there are also these issues like Greater Tripura and all. I would like to know from you what you have found out in the ground level. So, whether these issues are really working, and how, if they are working, and what intensity they are working actually, how they are accepting it, and how it will reflect in their voting pattern.
Yeah. So, Manisha, this is also one of the issue that we thought to test on the ground. So there are perceptions into the political and journalist and intellectual circle, and there are realities on the ground. Now we also went to the ground with a certain set of perceptions, hypothesis. No? Now one of the first hypotheses that we were really conscious about to test on the ground was that CPM and Congress alliance has a mathematics. The support base, their voting percentage coming together, and then the ruling party may face the anti-incumbency. There is also a rift between the ruling party and the dominant tribal party now Tripura Motha. So one of the analysis was that while the opposition is now united, the ruling party is on the back foot. That is one perception, one hypothesis. Our job was to go to the field, like many questions and issues, to test it on the ground. Now one of the reasons why we were interested in this issue, also because Tripura is the first state wherein the opposition unity is seen as experiment before the 2024 general election. Bharat Jodo Yatra is there. They are also talking about the larger opposition. From the south, in Telangana, BSR is also talking about the larger opposition, and there are various parties, Samajwadi Party, RJD, Trinamool. So at the national level, there is a buzz that there should be a larger opposition. All the anti-BJP parties should come together and challenge BJP's hegemonic position. Tripura is the first state, and that is why Tripura election is not just about Tripura. It has a national interest, implications and interest, because it is the template, the model.
Yeah.
So that is why you see the erstwhile hostile parties BJP is a player just in the last 5 years. Before that it was CPM and the Congress, and therefore this alliance is being seen seriously by the larger Indian audience and political parties to see whether the quest for opposition unity is successful on the ground or not. Now there are perception at two levels. One at the level of the leaders coming together, and you find a larger willingness of the anti-BJP party leader to come together and trying to find a common ground. Now second level, wherein I as a researcher or we as a researcher focus more, is how people are responding to the coming together of the leaders and the parties. Now on the ground, the mathematics of CPM and Congress doesn't have any chemistry. CPM और कांग्रेस का जो अलायंस है वो प्राइमरली लीडर्स का अलायंस है, उनके कुछ लीडर्स का अलायंस है. आप ग्राउंड पे जाएं तो पर्टिकुलरली कांग्रेस को जो बचे हुए वोटर्स हैं, मेजॉरिटी वोटर्स तो पहले ही बीजेपी में चले गए 2018 में. जो बचे हुए वोटर्स हैं वो कंप्लीटली एलियनेटेड हैं इस अलायंस से, क्योंकि 25 साल के सीपीएम के रूल का जो उनका एक्सपीरियंस है तो बहुत ही बिटर, वायलेंट और निगेटिव एक्सपीरियंस का है. वो एक्सपीरियंस है जिसमें वो रिकाउंट करते हैं, और हमने और मनीषा ने बहुत सारे ऐसे रेस्पोंडेंट से बात की जिसमें उन्होंने इंडिविजुअल जो उनके ऊपर फिजिकल असॉल्ट हुआ, जो उनके ऊपर इकोनॉमिक एक तरीके से बायकॉट कहे या जो असॉल्ट हुआ, और जिस तरीके से एक ट्रॉमेटिक पॉलिटिकल और सोशल एनवायरनमेंट था उसमें वो रहे, तो उनके लिए कांग्रेस का सीपीएम के साथ अलायंस करना उनके 25 साल या उस पीरियड में कभी भी उसकी जो सफरिंग है, जो उन्हें बिकॉज ऑफ पॉलिटिकल एफिलिएशन सीपीएम के अंडर में जूझना पड़ा, उसका बिट्रियल है. सो सीपीएम कांग्रेस अलायंस is primarily the coming together of the leader, but on the ground the Congress supporters in fact are hostile to it.
Yeah, there is a disconnect.
There is a disconnect.
Disconnect amongst the, basically between the disconnect between the leaders, the CPM Congress leaders who made the alliance, and the supporters who actually supported them, but now they are angry. So there is this disconnect basically.
No, this Sajjan was telling me that, telling us that there is a disconnect between these Congress leaders and its supporters because of their this in new language negative experience that they had got. But what's about these CPM supporters?
Yeah, that's interesting. CPM supporters are more than happy. See, CPM supporters know that their organizational strength and support base is no more what it used to be. There is a dent. And they are trying to compensate that by entering into alliance with the Congress, so that the Congress remaining votes can be added to it. But there is also a catch. This may have worked, but now we find there is a third player, and that is the regional tribal party, Tripura Motha. Now for the first time, Tripura is also, you asked the first question about the change. Do we see a change now compared to 2018? Now I think it's not just about 2018 and now. Before this election, you find that while socially Tripura was divided along the ethnic lines between tribals and non-tribals, primarily the Bengalis. But it used to have the party-based political affiliations and support base. So you had CPM and Congress until 2018. You will find CPM has a support base in tribals as well as among the Bengalis. You find that Congress also had a support base among the Bengalis, and via its allies like INPT or before that TUGS, support base among the tribals. So socially, ethnic fault lines were there, but politically, the support base was along the party lines. For the first time, and that is a paradigm shift into the political processes or reality of Tripura now. There is a complete consolidation of electorates or voters along the ethnic lines. So what is happening? Except for Chakmas and Mogs, who are Buddhist tribes, overwhelming number of the tribals are completely consolidated. behind Tripura Motha on the concept of Thansa, which is unity among the tribes. Though they also say it means larger unity, but the common people on the ground, the tribal thinks Thansa is a unity among different tribes. That is working. Now, if there is a unity and consolidation among the tribes on the ethnic lines,
so there is CPM then. CPM has got it used to get huge following in the tribal base.
Yeah,
in the political line.
Exactly. So what is the perception? Perception is that because of the Tripura Motha, BJP is going to be the absolute loser because it is going to lose among the tribal seats. The reality is different. BJP in 2018 also had a presence among the tribal voters via IPFT. It was primarily, in terms of the support base, it was primarily CPM which used to have a dominant vote base among the tribals of Tripura. 2018 they lost, they won some, but still their vote bank among the tribal was nearly intact. Now when Tripura Motha has created a scenario, when party line of affiliation has changed to ethnic line of affiliation,
this tribal vote base of the CPM has
exactly. So it is the CPM's tribal vote bank which is completely shifting to Motha, and therefore this ethnic line of voting is hampering predominantly the prospect of CPM among the tribals rather than the BJP, because BJP in the first place is yet, it never created a tribal vote bank because of its alliance with the IPFT, and it is still to venture into the tribal areas and create a committed vote bank. So absolute loser of this ethnic line of mobilization in Tripura is primarily the CPM, because its tribal vote bank is completely, and I am using this word consciously, completely shifting to the Tripura Motha. This is one. Now, coming to the alliance, the CPM voters are thinking that Congress remaining vote bank 2%, 3%, whatever on certain seats, more than that, added to CPM's 2018 vote bank in the backdrop of BJP's anti-incumbency scenario will help the alliance to win in many seats. But your calculation may be right on the top and on the paper. On the ground, the people have a different experience. Now, if the tribals are mobilized and consolidated along the ethnic lines on the issue of greater Tripura land, then there is bound to be a counter consolidation.
Yeah, the Bengali Hindu consolidation.
So Bengali votes are going to be shifting to some other party.
That is what we captured also. That is what we captured also, because to the majority of the Bengali Hindus, they could perceive that Tripura Motha and the issue of greater Tripura land and the issue of Thansa, they experience it in the everyday life. They could perceive it. So they are not going to go by the rational claim that they see on the top. They are preferring their everyday experience. So if there is one mode of consolidation, there is a counter consolidation. Now in counter consolidation, you are going for a non-tribal party, and CPM doesn't have an image of being a non-tribal party. To the majority of Bengali, CPM still is a party which caters to the tribal interest, while tribals do not consider it a tribal party. And therefore BJP emerges as the natural kind of choice. And that is why we found many Bengali voters who identified that even in 2018 they voted for the CPM, but this time they find it futile to go for that choice, because they perceive in this ethnic line it is better to vote for a party which is BJP, which will try to mitigate the fault line. Many of the Bengali voters also fear that perhaps in future, when the ethnic divide is going to deepen, a party like CPM may not have the language and capability
to help them or support them, protect them.
So that is why CPM's cadres or leaders' calculation of extracting or adding a Hindu Bengali votes of Congress to its fold is not going to work, because the line of mobilization is ethnic and BJP is the default choice of the Hindu Bengali voters.
So you have also perhaps asked the questions about Greater Triplaland, and you said these, most of the tribal electorates are shifting to Tripura Motha. That is the ground reality. So there must be some kind of reason that has influenced this tribal electors and all. And we believe that is the slogan for Greater Triplaland is one of the most, bright, quote unquote, bright slogan they have put forth. Now, what is your, the findings? How these common people, common tribal, indigenous people, tribal people, what is their concept about Greater Triplaland? How they accept it? Of course, since they are shifting, as you said, they are shifting towards the Tripura Motha. It means that they are supporting Greater Triplaland. But the idea of Greater Triplaland, how much they could understand about it, and what is their idea about it? Have you any findings on that?
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the theme we both have been asking and interacting, not only just among the tribals, but also among the Bengali electorates and respondents. What do they understand by the issue of Greater Triplaland or Triplaland? Now, interestingly, we know what the tribal intellectuals, leaders, and particularly Tripura Motha's position is. That they want a separate state wherein the tribal should get a larger representation due, and there are various models within the realm of constitution. But there are also conceptual confusions. Does it also include the tribal areas of neighboring state in India, say Assam and Mizoram? Or does it also include Chakla Roshnabad area from the Bangladesh?
Mostly CST area.
Yeah. So there are many conceptual confusion that what exactly does the demand of Greater Triplaland signify. Now if you talk to the ones, the middle class tribal intellectuals, politicians, or many of the cadres, Manisha was talking to one of them in, I don't remember which constituency.
Kabruk, I think.
Karbuk.
Yeah, Karbuk.
Yeah, one of the in charge of Tripura Motha in that constituency. So we have been asking, and therein we asked particularly what exactly do you mean, and we found that on the ground, even on the level of the tribal people who are quite aware about these debates and issue, they are also not exactly clear what exactly is their demand. This is at the level of, does it mean anti-Bengali kind of move? Is it about territory? Is it about the people? Is it about a combination of the both? If both, what is the degree? What would be the periphery of the territory? What would happen to the non-tribals? Within tribals, what will happen to the Chakmas and Mogs? All sorts of confusions are there. Interesting thing on the ground was that the common tribal respondents who just know that there is a demand. So to them, Tripura land just means that it is about a tribal issue, that Tripura belong to them. They are now the demographic minority. Bengalis who came from a significant section of them came after 71 as refugees, and they have become the majority. So they want that state must reverse and the tribal dominance should be there. What will happen to the Bengalis? There are extremist versions which says that they should be expelled. There are others, they say that why only Tripura should bear the burden. There are और भी तो जगह है
उसमें बैठा दो.
कल्चरली तो है, और दूसरा अनदर फैक्टर वाज आल्सो दैट वाज मटेरियल बेनिफिट. एक से हमने जिनसे बात किया, उन्होंने बोला कि एक तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल देयर इज अ सेंटिमेंट अमंग्स ट्राइबल्स फॉर महाराजा. They like Maharaja, like they are very emotional. They have this emotional attachment towards Maharaja. That is there, but secondly, material benefit also we found. Like I was talking to one tribal person. He was like कि हमारे पास वो फंड नहीं पहुंच पाता है, तो हमको वो चाहिए. अगर हमारा आदमी आएगा तो वो फंड जो है वो हम तक पहुंचेगा. तो दैट वाज आल्सो हिज कंसर्न. तो सिर्फ कल्चरल नहीं है, कुछ है कल्चरल, लेकिन वो भी है उनके दिमाग में कि वो इकोनॉमिक, वो फाइनेंशियल, उनको वो मिले वो चीज।
बिल्कुल, बहुत सारे ट्राइबल्स के लिए इसका सिंपली मतलब यह है कि हमारे यहाँ डेवलपमेंट नहीं होता है। जो एडीसी एरिया है, हाँ, उसके रोड्स खराब हैं, जनरल एरिया के रोड्स अच्छे हैं। सो यू फाइंड ऑन द ग्राउंड वाइल देयर इज अ इंस्टिंक्टिव परसेप्शन दैट इट मीन्स ट्राइबल्स आर गोइंग टू
get some area, territory where they will have this economic and political and other benefits.
So many of them, it's also about that tribal areas are less developed, and therefore it's primarily an economic demand. So that way, interestingly, while this is the issue, if you interrogate not only the common tribal respondent, but also the leaders and intellectuals, you find a volley of confusions wherein there is no clarity what exactly the demand for Greater Tripura land reveals or signifies.
No, another very interesting, I was talking to the respondent said ki sense of justice, there was this concept in him regarding the sense of justice. वो बोल रहा था कि अगर हमारा आता है आदमी, तो जैसे पहले राइट्स अगर हो रहे हैं, कुछ भी अगर प्रॉब्लम होती है ट्राइबल एंड अमंग्स बंगालीज, बिटवीन ट्राइबल एंड बंगालीज, तो उसने बोला कि पहले सजा नहीं मिलती थी, तो अब जब अगर क्राइम होगा तो वो सजा मिलेगी, तो हमारे साथ तो वो छोड़ा नहीं जाएगा, अगर हमारे साथ कुछ बुरा हो रहा है तो उसको छोड़ा नहीं जाएगा। ऐसे मतलब एक सेंस ऑफ जस्टिस था उसके बातों में।
There are many issues actually. There are, you know, these main issues are there, but there are some sub issues are also there. Like, you know, these. But the concept of Greater Tripura land, what I could make out from your statement, that the concept of Greater Tripura land is not yet clear to the common tribal indigenous people, though they are going to support it. They are going to support the Tripura Motha, but still with some kind of dream in their mind that yes, we will be getting some kind of territory where justice will be given, where economic development will be there, and all these things will be there for them. Their languages will be, you know, protected, their culture and everything will be protected. So that is a kind of with a dream. They are working with a dream, though they don't have a concrete idea what is actually Greater Tripura land.
And not only that, they don't have also a kind of clarity how this demand is going to be executed, realized. So that is also not there. Sentiment is there.
This confusion is not only among the you know, these common indigenous people. These even we are also sitting here in Agartala and you know, urban and semi-urban areas. We are also not very clear about these Greater Tripura land areas. Only recently, one of their leaders in a conclave said the Greater Tripura land will also include some parts of Bangladesh territory, you know, this is Bangladesh where these Tripura tribals are residing, also from Mizoram and Assam. Now, I am at a loss to understand how we can get this Bangladesh territory within Greater Tripura land. For that, we have to go for a war with Bangladesh. And anyway, even in 1947, we didn't accept CST when these Shantu Larma, Manavendra Larma and Upen Chakma and these people went to Nehru and demanded that the CST should be included in India. Nehru didn't accept it. Now after so many years, we suddenly, if we go for this, you give us this land and all, you know, we cannot bring POK, Pak Occupied Kashmir, which is our land, to India. Now, I am not really, you know, this certain, or rather I am at a loss to understand how this land from CST, Bangladesh territory, will be included in Greater Tripura land. And for that matter, you know, if you look at this Mizoram and Assam, Assam does have the territorial problem with almost all states, Arunachal, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya. Only recently, in July last year, there was a firing incident between Mizoram and Assam, where 6 policemen were killed. Now, you know, this I feel a little bit uneasy to accept that Assam will give this land to Tripura or Mizoram will give their land to Tripura. So we are also at a loss. So I won't, you know, I won't say that I understand that these common people, tribal people, they don't understand Greater Tripuran concept. But still, this is emotional attachment with the Maharaja, Pradut Kishore, with their Maharaja, Tripura's Maharaja. And this hype has been made. But at the same time, what I also gather from your findings that there is, as you said, this is a complete. This time, this voting is going to be on ethnic line.
Exactly.
That means election exercise will be over at a point of time.
Yes.
But this division, this ethnic line, this concept, this perception, this ethnic divide, maybe before it was a crack feature, some discontent and some, we had of course witnessed riots, we had witnessed militancy and all. But if in a democratic process this ethnic divide is, as you said, use the word complete, then don't you feel that this will have some kind of, greater implication in near future after this election process is over?
Exactly, that is one of the concern, because if you see, elections are episodic, they come and go, but the fault lines, it deepens or it harmonizes, has the serious implication for the everyday life of the people after election. Now, this time compared to the last time, there are less violence on the ethnic line. You see, the instances of violence are way more less than what it was in 2018. 6 months before, it was a violent clash. Every day it was happening along the ethnic lines, both within the tribals and between the tribals and non-tribals.
In fact, you lost one of your drivers, I believe,
Exactly,
in Kumlong area, where your driver, you also faced that kind of, this mob, very violent mob.
Yeah, when my driver was killed.
Your driver was killed. His Jivan Devnath, his body was recovered after 15 days or something like that.
Yes.
That happened in
Kumlong, yeah.
You had to take shelter in some school building or somewhere. From there you escaped. Huh?
And then we went to the
station.
First to the, I don't remember, it was CRPF or
some camp.
TSR camps, and then we went to the police station, and then the police arrived. So that
you narrowly escaped actually.
Narrowly escaped because my interpreter was a tribal who could speak Kok Barok, said, started shouting that I am not a Bengali and I am from Delhi. So because of the ethnic hostility tension and fault line. So I escaped it.
But your driver couldn't.
But driver could not, because they could identify in the ongoing ethnic violence that he is a native and a Bengali. So that was.
But this time you never faced any such kind of,
No, Manisha can answer it better because being a.
এরকম আচ্ছা, তুমি তো প্রথম এলে এবার ত্রিপুরাতে তো এবার কি এরকম কোনো চোখে পড়ছে, মানে কোনো অসুবিধা হয়েছে বা ডিড ইউ ফিল এনি এরকম কোনো ডিসকমফর্ট ফিল করেছো?
এইবার কিছু ছিল না ওইভাবে, বাস যে একটা নরমাল একটা ফল্ট লাইন আছে, ওইটা হচ্ছে কি আমি বাঙালি, তো আমি যদি একটা ট্রাইবাল এরিয়াতে যদি যাই, জিজ্ঞাসা করছি কেন এখন যাচ্ছি, তো জিজ্ঞাসা যেটা করছে ওইটাও তো একটা কমপ্লিকেটেড ম্যাটার না, পলিটিক্যাল অ্যাফিলিয়েশনের ব্যাপারে জিজ্ঞাসা করছি, তো ওরাও একটু অ্যালার্ট থাকে, দে রিমেইন অ্যালার্ট আ লিটল, দে ডোন্ট সে মাচ। বাট ওইটা নর্মাল ব্যাপার, ওইটা একটা হয় যখন ওইটা একেবারে ডিফারেন্ট কালচার, এটা একটা ফল্ট লাইন দেখাই যাচ্ছে, তো ওইটা থাকবেই, কিন্তু তার ওর থেকে বেশি এরকম ছিল না। They were welcoming also, somewhere they were welcoming also, most of the time they were welcoming also.
In fact, we stayed at many tribal households in the night, ate their food and just so that we have more interaction, and Manisha was also there. So
there is a change actually. There is
a. That's why the first question, the change in the political culture. So this time, but there is a paradox, because the question is, the mobilization is complete on the ethnic lines, but the instances of violence are less. Earlier in the past, it was the party-based mobilization, but the ethnic clashes were more. So you see a irony, a paradox. But will it remain like that? Should we infer that since there are less ethnic violence instances, and therefore Tripura has become a normal state as far as the ethnic fault lines is concerned? I am skeptical about. Why? Because the instances of lessening of ethnic based violence between tribals and Bengalis primarily also has to do a lot with the nature of leadership of the tribals. This time, the Maharaja, who is referred as Bubagra in Kok Barok language affectionately, by the larger tribals who are united.
Also from the non-tribals also.
Non-tribals also. Bubagra.
Maharaja.
Now, since Maharaja is the leader, the tribal supporters are also conscious that
we shouldn't do anything which will bring some kind of,
disrepute to his leadership, because he is a Maharaja, and Maharaja is coming to lead us. Now Bhubagra is trying to talk and raise our issue, and therefore we have to behave in a proper and dignified way. But it has a larger aim also. Since Maharaja is the leader and he has raised the mantle of tribal issue to a larger extent, so that he is uncompromising and demanding that we will ally only if the ruling government, central government, gives us a guarantee in writing, which is extremely difficult, that they will accept the demand for greater Tripura land. So there is a loss of expectation also. Now we'll come to what we perceive.
After some years, after 1 year or say 2 years, when it will be, by and large, it will be clear that no, greater Tripura land is not coming that way.
At least in the form they are demanding.
Yeah. Maybe there may be many other, these Delhi people may find out some other mechanism to strengthen this TTADC and all.
Exactly.
244A, etc. ये सब तो दे देते हैं, but Pradyut Kishore is not in a mood to accept these. He wants only greater Tripura land. Now this problem is the greater Tripura land, the concept of greater Tripura land is also not clear.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether Delhi is clear about it. So in that case, the things will be, put in the background ultimately, and from there it will go under the carpet. So after 1 year, 2 years, if this greater Tripura land is not implemented, so there will be serious fallout.
And then
this fallout will be in the ground level.
Exactly. So now it's very, relatively peaceful. You do not see ethnic polarization is there, but violence is not there. And tribals are saying that we are not going to indulge in violence because Maharaja Bhubagra is the leader. But at the same time, we all know, and this may be, we are not going to reveal the numbers because that would be against the model code of conduct. But we can tell, comfortably that the ruling party is comfortably placed for another mandate. The real story is who would acquire the second spot, who would be the prime opposition. Now therein, the alliance which we talked about, in our finding, is going to be relegated to a distant third spot. So CPM Congress alliance is not only not able to challenge the ruling party BJP, but rather they are losing the opposition space to the tribal party Tripura Motha. So Tripura Motha is going to emerge as the main opposition party. Now in that scenario, BJP being the ruling party, Tripura Motha being the main challenger, main opposition, so certainly it may lead to a very heightened pitch for greater Tripura land vis-a-vis the ruling party. Now if after post-poll scenario, the ruling party, that is BJP, tackles the issue, thinking in mind the larger social and ethnic divisions, then some sort of understanding between Tripura Motha and the ruling party is desired, not only desired, is indispensable. Now it will depend also upon the Tripura Motha and its leader, Pradyut Kishore Manikya, whether he is willing to go for certain practical, pragmatic understanding or not.
Is it possible for him, after all that, when he has joined this election and he has rejected all, declined all kind of offers from all the parties, regarding this greater Tripura land. Now, will it be possible? Do you think it's possible for him to, reduce the scale of his, this high-pitched demand?
More than that, it would be extremely difficult for him, but my apprehension for the sake of argument, even if Pradyut Kishore Manikya accepts some practical, he steps back and goes for some understanding, how the tribal support base
will react to it,
is going to respond to it. Because to them it is a Maharaja, his words are final. Now if Maharaja's words are not going to be executed in letter and spirit, And if Maharaja would be perceived to be betraying the mandate, that would be a complete betrayal. NC Dev Barma or someone else betraying it is acceptable. You reject A, accept B, and this has been the fate of tribal parties and tribal issue. In every election you will have a different tribal party and a different leader raising the same demand. Now it's Tripura Motha and Pradut Kishore Manikya. 2018 it was IPFT and NC Dev Barma. Before that it was INPT and a different leader. Much back it was TUGS and a different. So issue remain the same. Platform and the leader changes.
So we also asked also ki IPFT to tha na, what happened then? Then they were like ki IPFT just used the sentiments of the people. They didn't actually deliver. So there is this. Even if IPFT was there, then why Motha, we asked. Same thing, same leader, but leadership is different. But they were like, they just used our sentiment, but they didn't deliver. So that is the main problem. So obviously sentiment is there कि नहीं करेगा अब, महाराजा अब करेंगे हमारे लिए. So हाँ, अगर वो नहीं होता है तो problem तो है उसमें.
So it's not just about, whether Pradut Kishore Manikya would be willing to concede or not. Point is that will he be able to control the emotions of his own support base, which he has now.
He will have to run the story. Even after this exercise is over, these elections are over, he will have to run the story for quite a long time.
So a peaceful election and the post-election scenario, in the backdrop of ethnic polarization is something which the ruling parties and the prime opposition party, and also the third spot which the CPM Congress alliance, it would be the responsibility of the political elites, not to raise the mantle for sectarian benefits, but rather to think about a scenario wherein the fault line, which is complete, at least in as far as elections are concerned, should not translate into a social fault line. That scenario is there.
Thank you, Sajjan. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Monisha.
Thank you.
And it's really, really enriching to discuss with you and learn many more things from you. And hopefully we will be writing articles on also in newspapers.
Exactly. We have, I and Manisha have already wrote a piece in First Post, which clearly gives the most interesting kind of issue which every reader wants to know. Who is winning, who is losing, what are the trends. So it's, it was published a couple of days back. BJP is set to win Tripura again. The second piece, which is about to come, about how the alliance chemistry is not only not working, but rather it's almost, we find a massive rejection. On the ground it's not resonating. And then as the election proceeds, we'll also be releasing our detailed report of the field. Then besides our method with the Maharaja Bir Bikram University students and some of the colleagues of Tripura University and other educational institutions, we have already sent the students in the constituencies across the state for closed quantitative survey, so that we get the numbers and then we can publish. So that is what we plan to do about Tripura as of now.
And this result will be published before these elections.
Exactly. Exactly. This we will be going for a kind of pre-poll predictions as and when it's permissible.
And for Monisha, I think your experience in Tripura will help you in your PhD and future. So thank you very much. Thank you again. দর্শক বন্ধুরা, আজকে আমাদের এই আলোচনা এখানেই শেষ করছি। আশা করি আপনাদের এই আলোচনা ভালো লেগেছে। সবাইকে নমস্কার।